The Walking Dead premiered in 2010, and as of 2016, is the highest watched cable television show in history. It is a show about the world after a zombie apocalypse, and perhaps because of that fact, is a world less prone to submit to the social constructs of pre-outbreak life. And yet, with its high viewership and cultural impact, does it really reflect the diversity of its previous society, even with the world's restrictions gone? Television and film. They're all forms of artistic expression to imitate what makes life rich. And now, beyond being expressions of the writers, they are the expressions of the cultures in which we live in. Film is immersive and empathetic and can help us live in the shoes of those whose lives we don't understand. And yet, does its reflection always represent what life really has to offer? Out of the 266 characters to have appeared on The Walking Dead, 6 have been openly LGBTQ+. This is a number of about 2.2%. Atlanta, the capital of the state of Georgia, and the state in which The Walking Dead takes place, has an LGBT population of 4.2%. Georgia, as a whole, has an LGBT population of almost 3%. And these numbers may not even accurately represent how big the LGBT populations in those places are. But The Walking Dead is not just broadcast to Georgia. The Walking Dead is not a story about Georgia. The Walking Dead is a story about humanity. And to not show the whole of humanity is to deny the experiences of millions of people. To show LGBTQ+ people that they are only worth 2.2%, and not just that, not worth the proportional amount of screen time that their straight counterparts have, is a great denial. But that's just a drama series. Sometimes you don't get to find out who is LGBT. It's a zombie apocalypse and it might not always come up. What about other genres of television? Slice-of-life comedies that are intended to portray daily life. Let's try The Big Bang Theory, the second most watched show on television, only behind Sunday Night Football. Out of all of its reoccurring and main characters, none are LGBT. In total, the show boasts 2 LGBT characters, both of which were minor and unexplored. When looking at the 126 movies from major studios in 2015, 22 had LGBT characters. That's 17.5%, which means that 82.5% of movies are telling queer people that they don't exist. Even if you're complaining about statistics and that LGBT people are minorities and that somehow means we shouldn't be represented, even by statistical standards, we're not represented accurately. The vast majority of movies don't represent queer characters at all. And what about the quality of representation? The Vito Russo test, developed by GLAAD and named after the highly acclaimed author, measures the quality of representation of LGBT characters on screen. Among its considerations are the LGBT characters visibly LGBT? Are the characters defined by their identity as a queer person, or do they have other defining character traits? How important is the character to the story? Are they just the punchline to a joke? Out of the 22 films that included LGBT characters, 8 passed the test. 8 films. A lot of times, films are supposed to be reflections of the audience. Films can also give people hope and help people understand what they don't. They can be cultural phenomenons and give a kid somebody to look up to. How is film doing that for LGBT people? How will people begin to accept queer people if they don't know we exist? If they haven't realized that we're just people? And even when represented accurately, do we get happy endings? Major films like Brokeback Mountain are good ways of making people empathize with the queer experience and to realistically depict their possible struggles. But where are the films that show us that it's okay to be LGBT? Since 1976, there have been 18,000 straight characters. Out of those, there have been only 383 lesbian or bisexual television characters. And how many out of those 383 are dead? 162. Representation should make us happy. Although it's important to recognize the struggles of being an LGBT person, movies and television are also a great place to escape and show people that they can have adventures, whether gay, straight, bi, pan, or cis. We live in a world where our culture and media go hand in hand. The day a queer kid can turn on the TV and see themselves happy is the day they might realize they can change the world.